Hello and welcome to Sports News Africa, the home of Africa's sporting conversation. Let's take a look at the headlines. And it looks like CAF has found its next host as Equatorial Guinea take over from Morocco. And Ghana's Black Stars hope to qualify early for the AFCON tournament with a game to spare. And Cameroon's indomitable Lions could also qualify with a win over Congo. Thank you for joining us on Sports News Africa. I'm Ehi Alongi. Well, the uncertainty of whether CAF would have a new host in time for the 2015 Africa Cup of Nations tournament in January can be put to bed now. Equatorial Guinea have stepped up to take over from Morocco. That gives a Central African country free passage into the tournament, despite being thrown out during qualification after fielding ineligible players. And now we can speak to African football journalist Mo Ali about this. Hello, Mo. Mo, what's your reaction to CAF's decision to select Equatorial Guinea to host the AFCON tournament?
Well, I think it's not really a big surprise because, as everybody would have mentioned in the lead-up to as soon as Morocco said they were not going to host the tournament and as soon as CAF booted them out, there were only a few countries that could really host the tournament. South Africa and Ghana were recent hosts, already said that they were not interested, which means that there were only a few countries who recently hosted the Africa Cup of Nations, and those were Angola and Equatorial Guinea and Gabon. And no surprise, Angola said that they were not interested in hosting the tournament. So it was really down to Gabon and Equatorial Guinea, although there was some talk about Qatar even offering to host. But I think CAF always wanted to host the tournament in Africa. So not the biggest surprise.
Okay, well, Equatorial Guinea is said to have no cases of Ebola, which is good. But does it have the infrastructure to stage the tournament?
Well, that's the big question. I wasn't there for the tournament in 2012, which it co-hosted with Gabon. But according to colleagues who were there, they did complain about logistics. And remember, they co-hosted, so they only required two cities, which were Malabo and Bata. And now they've got to have four cities. And I don't know what the infrastructure is like in the other two cities of Mongomo and Ebibien. And it's going to be very interesting to see how those two cities cope with hosting the tournament, and particularly at such short notice as well. I mean, it's literally, 9 weeks before the tournament starts. So for them to get everything in order in those 9 weeks is going to be a massive task.
Well, short notice indeed, but this comes after they were thrown out of qualifying for fielding ineligible players. So aren't CAF backtracking on their own regulations?
I don't think CAF had a choice. You mentioned that they were actually eliminated for fielding Thierry Fidio-Tesmeta, who had a dual citizenship with Cameroon, and even before the pre-qualifiers, they had eliminated Mauritania, but Mauritania appealed, and as a result of that, they were kicked out. But CAF just did not have a chance or an opportunity to look at any other host, so they were really in a corner. As soon as Morocco wasn't going to host the tournament, as we mentioned earlier on, there were only a certain amount of countries that could host the Nations Cup. And with Equatorial Guinea being one of them, I think CAF's hand was simply forced because they've had problems with eligibility, both in their men's and women's team. They've brought in a lot of Brazilians, for example. They brought in Cameroonians from all over. And CAF just, I think they were in a helpless situation, and they just had to take Equatorial Guinea, irrespective of the fact that they were kicked out of the Nations Cup for fielding an ineligible player.
Okay, Mo, do you agree? I mean, this is a fantastic opportunity for Equatorial Guinea to host CAF Showcase again and obviously to put themselves on the map.
Yeah, I mean, Equatorial Guinea, they played in their first Nations Cup when they co-hosted in 2012. They don't really have a great record or pedigree in African football. And, of course, it would be a fantastic opportunity for their players to get exposure at the top level. They did play a friendly against Spain last November. Spain were en route for their friendly against South Africa, and Spain stopped over there to play, which Spain won by 2-1. And, they haven't been playing much international football of late. As we mentioned, they lost to Mauritania in the pre-qualifiers, and that in fact was their last game. So it's a fantastic opportunity to welcome Africa's top players to their country and give the Equatorial Guinea side an opportunity to play against the best in Africa. When they hosted in 2012, they did manage to reach the quarterfinals when they lost 3-0 to the Ivory Coast. So here's a similar opportunity for them to play against top quality opposition.
Okay, and finally, I mean, how do you think this will be viewed on the continent and around the world?
Well, I think the main question and the main concerns for particularly players and the media and those involved with the logistics is how people are going to get around the country. The infrastructure is not the best in terms of transportation. Whether there's going to be enough hotels, particularly in the two other cities, Mongomo and Ebebe, which didn't host in the last Nations Cup when they was played there in 2012. And I think many of the European clubs would be very concerned at this stage, not knowing enough about the facilities in Equatorial Guinea, about sending their players to the country. Of course, there's no cases of Ebola that's been reported there, but I think the players and the European clubs particularly will be very concerned about the situation that they're going to be sending their players to. Are the facilities going to be good enough in particularly the two cities, Ebebe and Mongomo?
Okay, Mo, well, thank you very much for speaking to Sports News Africa. And with the venue now taken care of, teams that are still involved in the qualifiers can now concentrate on their last two rounds of matches. Let's start then with a look at Group E, featuring a resurgent Ghana who can seal qualification to Equatorial Guinea.
Ghana's Black Stars need only one victory to qualify for the 2015 Africa Cup of Nations tournament, and the team has been training hard for their return leg away match against the Uganda Cranes in Kampala this weekend. Having drawn 1-1 in their first encounter, Ghana are looking to hit two birds with one stone, prove their supremacy over the East Africans and qualify for next year's tourney. However, the Black Stars will miss the service of three key players, Asamoah Gyan and Kwadwo Asamoah, both nursing injuries, and Jordan Ayew, who is suspended. Stand-in captain Andre Dede Ayew said the team is ready for the task ahead.
I have a lot of belief in our team and in our players. I know that we can go to Uganda and do a great job there. A victory there will seal us to the Nations Cup, and I think that's what's important. So we are going to train hard and try and go there and get the 3 points. When Ghana is playing, we always go for 3 points, so we are going to go there all out to bring victory home.
The Black Stars top Group E with 8 points after winning 2 previous matches and drawing in 2. Uganda have, however, failed to maintain their early momentum after being on top of the group in the opening stages. The Cranes are in third place together with Guinea, each with 4 points, and Togo second with 6 points.
Group D features another couple of teams who have seemingly returned from despair at the World Cup, determined to win back their fans. However, Cameroon and Ivory Coast are not having it all their own way, with DR Congo also in with a good chance of qualifying. But the indomitable Lions, like Ghana, can book their place with a win tomorrow.
The indomitable Lions of Cameroon will this weekend be aiming to maintain their top position in Group D of the 2015 Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers as they face the Democratic Republic of Congo on home ground Yaoundé. The match on Saturday is their second encounter after their 2-0 victory 2 months ago in Lubumbashi against the DRC. Head coach Volker Fink has promised to thwart any moves by the DRC side and will be going for victory again.
Congo will play 4-1-4-1. Only 2 are missing. It's the same team that played against us, only 2 are missing. But with counter-attacks and a high morale, Congo achieved a very good match in Abidjan. We saw the footage. We know what will happen. That's why we must be ready and very well prepared.
He added that the team still remains intact, even though 3 new players have been included in the squad.
In this team, there are some options. It's not true that on the bench there's no quality. This is also, I think, this is also the spirit of this team, that each player knows I can help, I can get something to the team, but also it's possible they can win without me. This is a little bit our idea, that each player is very, very important, and each player, we need the key players. But also, if there are 2 key players who are injured, we are going with a strong team, in the good spirit.
On his part, Indomitable Lions captain Stephen Beer said despite their position in the group, they remain focused.
We'll have the same logic as for the previous matches. We first work on our will, our mindset, and after that, we'll be ready. We've trained a lot to be ready to handle this match.
The team's midfielder Eno Eyong said football is unpredictable, but the team is focused on qualifying for the 2015 tournament.
We must qualify, one after the other. Each match is different. We have to forget about the 3 previous ones. We must concentrate on Saturday. It's essential that we win.
A draw on Saturday will be enough for Cameroon to remain at the top in Group D and edge closer to the 2015 AFCON tournament. Opponents DR Congo are tied with 6 points each, and Sierra Leone is at the bottom with only 1 point.
Still with AFCON and Group G now, where one of Africa's traditional powerhouses, the Pharaohs of Egypt, seem to have a host of on- and off-pitch issues to settle if they are to secure qualification.
The Egyptian Pharaohs, Egypt's national football team, have just a few more hours to prepare before their Group G 2015 Africa Cup of Nations qualifier match against Senegal in the capital, Cairo, tomorrow. The 7-time AFCON champions will be looking to secure a crucial 3 points that will ensure they make it to next year's tournament. Head coach Shoki Garib is well aware of the strong opponents his side will be facing this weekend.
Senegal has a strong team. They have very skillful players. They have very skillful players who have various talents. But at the same time, we have been training on good tactics that would help us to achieve our target, which is to qualify for the finals.
2 months ago, the Pharaohs lost to Senegal's Lions of Teranga 2-0 in Dakar and will be looking to reverse the scores this time. Emad Motab, a striker for the Pharaohs, is looking forward to the match.
I
hope to win the match on Saturday to make the fans feel happy, God willing. I hope I'm up to the task.
Ahmed Hassan, the Pharaohs football director, said despite the team's readiness for Saturday's encounter, there have been several setbacks, but hopes the squad will overcome them.
Senegal is not stronger than Egypt, but we've passed through many obstacles. The obstacles that all of you know very well. The league was halted, players are not in good form, but now I think the situation is much better. Our key is to win and to concentrate very well. The match is very difficult, but the players are taking a lot of responsibility to win.
Meanwhile, the Egyptian Football Association has come to the aid of Coach Garib, dispelling rumors that his contract will be terminated should the Pharaohs lose the Saturday match. In fact, according to EFA Vice President Hassan Farid, Garib will continue working with the team until 2018.
Captain
Shoki will stay in office and his position until 2018. He will lead the team during the next World Cup qualifications. Mr. Bob Bradley got a complete chance and he led the team during the CAF qualification and the World Cup qualification too. Therefore, Captain Shoki should be given also a full chance. He just played 8 games, 4 out of them were friendly.
Considered one of the most successful teams on the continent, the Pharaohs have had a lukewarm 2015 AFCON qualifier season. They are third in their group with 6 points, behind Senegal who have 7 points. Tunisia are at the top with 10 points, while Botswana trails with no points.
Though they will undoubtedly be focused on the qualifiers, perhaps the Super Eagles might have been distracted by the off-pitch problems that their association is mired in. So they may take much-needed inspiration from the recognition of their goalkeeper in both the BBC and CAF's African Player of the Year awards.
The spotlight is shining on Nigeria's Super Eagles goalkeeper Vincent Enyama, who is not only regarded as one of Africa's finest goalkeepers, but also one of the best in Europe. Enyama, who plays for French side Lille, was on Monday named by the Confederation of African Football among 25 contenders for the 2014 African Footballer of the Year award. With back-to-back victories in the African Champions League titles in 2003 and 2004, Enyama set the pace with an award as the first African goalkeeper to win the French Ligue 1 in May. His spectacular performance in the 2014 World Cup in Brazil was, however, overshadowed by wrangles within the team and officials. But the stars may be aligned just right this time for the 32-year-old to be crowned Africa's best player.
I want to say thank you to everyone who supported me this far, who's been there for me, who's voted for me, who's nominated me, who's prayed for me, who's done all sort of things to make me turn out good. I want to say a big thank you to them. These guys are great. You guys are wonderful. You guys are great. You know, I really appreciate your love for this country, your passion, your everything that you've put in to make me what I am today.
Enyama was also very instrumental in helping Nigeria clinch the 2013 AFCON in South Africa, where he emerged as the tournament's best goalkeeper. The battle for the title will be against fellow Nigerian Ahmed Musa, who plays for Russian club CSKA, title holder Yaya Toure, who has been nominated for the 6th time. Other strong contenders for the title are Gabon's Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, Algeria's Yassine Brahimi, and Ivory Coast's Gervinho.
And here's a look at all the fixtures coming up in the Africa Cup of Nations this weekend. Welcome back to Sports News Africa. Cricket now, and South Africa have lost the first of their 5 one-day internationals against Australia in Perth. The Australians posted a total of 300 for 8, with Vernon Philander the pick of the South African bowlers. In reply, the Proteas fell 32 runs short, bowled out for 268. And that's the end of Sports News Africa for today. And what a day when Equatorial Guinea announces the new host of AFCON 2015. Join us again tomorrow when we'll bring you all the latest from Africa and around the world. Goodbye for now.